So I know that a little later on this year, you're going to have another one of those really swell presidential elections that you like so much. You'll enjoy yourselves. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm sure as soon as the election is over, your country will improve immediately.
I think if Trump wins, people are going to be furious. And I think if Biden wins, people are going to be furious.
To change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow.
Hillary Clinton is suggesting that Russians are grooming a 2020 Democratic presidential hopeful to run as a third-party candidate and spoil the race for the Democrats. You're maintaining that the birth certificate that the President of the United States revealed and released to the public, you're maintaining that that is fraudulent.
That's right.
We cannot afford to withhold our votes or waste them on a protest candidate.
You can't waste your vote on a protest candidate. You can't waste your vote on a protest candidate. You don't get to vote for who you want to vote for.
Everybody complains about politicians. Everybody says they suck. Yeah! Well, where do people think these politicians come from? They don't fall out of the sky. They don't pass through a membrane from another reality. They come from American parents and American families, American homes, American schools, American churches, American businesses, and American universities, and they're elected by American citizens.
Most of the people who graduated in the 60s, dropouts or half-baked intellectuals, are now occupying the positions of power in the government, civil service, business, mass media, educational system. You are stuck with them. You cannot get rid of them. They are contaminated.
Business. I hope and believe that many Americans, despite their current sort of patriotic unity, are really annoyed, if not incensed, at the ease with which rich crooks can get access to the highest circles of the government.
Mr. Sullivan,
and the way in which the government considers that that's nobody's business but theirs. Now, there should be a real outrage about that.
If you wanted to write a check to either the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, doesn't matter. Unlimited amount of money that you can give to the party. So what does that actually mean? It means the party has a hell of a lot of power that they can leverage over individual members of Congress, elected leaders, to say, if you don't play ball, if you don't vote the way we want you to vote, we're not going to be there to help you out in your election.
It is the international system of currency which determines the totality of life on this planet. That is the natural order of things today.
We turn two blind eyes to how each side is operating with the same cancerous behavior that thinks leadership is born out of criticism, belittling, division, taking bribes, and manipulating public opinion through strategies and deception.
America, take a good look at your beloved candidates. They're nothing but hideous space reptiles. It's true. We are aliens. But what are you going to do about it? It's a two-party system. You have to vote for one of us.
He's right. This is a two-party system.
Well, I believe I'll vote for a third-party candidate.
Go ahead. Throw your vote away.
Instead of leaders voting based on what they believe is right for their constituents or right for the country or based on their conscience, instead they're being goaded into voting for the interests of the political party, putting party ahead of the interests of the country.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals.
The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis. You can see it in Central America now. This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis.
What is it that this Congress produced for the American people? And mostly it produced entertainment. The big pieces of legislation that go through are kind of preordained. A few people at the top, they decide everything, and that is not good for anyone, no matter what part of the political spectrum you're on.
A few people and a few organizations.
And a few organizations. These speakers have totally closed down the process. We don't have any say. For people at home who think that we have a say, we do not have a say anymore. And when we don't have a say as your representatives, you don't have a say. Instead, they want the battle because it sells well.
We're the resource that is being strip mined into our cognition. And that means that we're worth more if we're addicted, distracted, outraged, narcissistic, attention-seeking, polarized, and disinformed than if we're a thriving citizen.
Now we're not leaving until we can agree on something, okay?
Like
what should we give the poor?
nothing. Handouts.
So you agree they should stay poor?
Yes. Like if you solve the problem, then what are you going to do to whip people up?
And yeah, what are you going to do to get the campaign contributions? What are you going to do to get the turnout? What are you going to do to run the ads? And there's something wrong with an industry that has more money flowing into it the more they don't solve the problems.
So let's talk about what the solution might look like here, because really that's what the Unity Project is about. The real challenge to the duopoly has to come from a group of people who allow their commitment to the nation to bond them together in spite of the differences they may have. Until we displace the corrupt duopoly, we won't move forward. We'll do what the corrupt duopoly wants us to do.
So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
This is it. This is the last country of freedom and possibility. There must be a very strong national effort to educate people in the spirit of real patriotism. If people will fail to grasp the impending danger, nothing ever can help the United States. You may kiss goodbye to your freedom, educate yourself, understand what's going on around you. You are not living at the time of peace. You are in a state of war. And you have precious little time to save yourself.